Don't let one bad leg haunt your parlay. Parlays turn into payouts, and now even near misses won't haunt your bet. The NFL season is here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is rewriting the rules with Ghost Leg, a new game-changing promotion that turns close calls into cold, hard cash. Best of all, it's available to all DraftKings customers. Here's how it works. Build any 3+ leg pregame NFL parlay on Sunday, apply your Ghost Leg token, and if one leg loses, DraftKings makes it vanish like it never existed and pays you out in cash for the rest. Last season, over 30 million parlays were lost by a single leg. This year, Ghost Leg gives those busted bets a second life. No more busted parlays that haunt you all season. With Ghost Leg, the bad leg vanishes. The payout doesn't. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code PFF. That's code PFF to unlock Ghost Leg, the promotion that makes one bad leg disappear and pays you out in real cash. Ghost your losses, get your payout in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
The 49ers traveling to New Orleans. The Saints giving the Arizona Cardinals a run for their money last week. A lot closer than a lot of people anticipated that game was going to be. Where are we starting here? You want to talk about the Saints? You want to talk about the Niners?
I'll talk about the Niners defense here, and I've criticized their run defense a lot since even the second half of last year, and it hasn't been great. Now the grading isn't that great from last week because their defensive line is still figuring it out. But when you look at what the Niners did in run defense against Seattle last week, and a Clint Kubiak offense that really wants to run the football, played a pretty solid game. Only 3.2 yards per carry allowed. Only missed 2 tackles in run defense. Didn't give up any explosive runs, and I think what you see for the 49ers is the second level run defenders are pretty darn good. Obviously that starts with Fred Warner, who's fantastic, but if you look at their 6 highest graded you look at their 6 highest graded players in run defense last week, only one of them was a defensive lineman. So you've got guys, Fred Warner, Luke Gifford at linebacker. I thought D. Winters played a good game. Marcus Siegel, who's the starting, I believe he's starting at safety right now. It's either safety or nickel right now for them. You've just got guys at the second level who are making plays. They're making plays, they're making tackles, they're making open field tackles, and they're not allowing yards after contact. So the D-line is not great, but the second level guys are playing well and making up for it. And the Saints really need to find a way to run the football. Look, the passing game it wasn't explosive last week. They need to get Alvin Kamara, Kendre Miller, whoever on the ground going. They had the worst run blocking grade in the league last week. And this offensive line, other than the left guard spot with Trevor Penning, is mostly healthy. 4 of the 5 starters are healthy. But Kelvin Banks, Talisi Fuaga, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, they've got to block up front better. They can't have the worst run blocking grade in the league, or it's going to be a real problem. The 49ers D-line, I think, is still vulnerable. That's a work in progress with all those young kids. But Fred Warner and those guys alongside and behind him have done a really good job so far of limiting explosive runs. That's a big, big positive for this Niners defense.
To me, it just comes down to the Niners being able to run the ball the way that they need to. They had 119 rushing yards last week, and I think a lot of people might look at that and be like, oh, no, it's totally fine. They were 10th in the NFL in total rushing yards last week, but specifically McCaffrey, when you look at Christian McCaffrey, 22 rushes, just 69 yards, and a 3.1 yards per carry average, especially with George Kittle no longer there. Obviously, it's well documented the injuries that they have had at the wide receiver position, but specifically now not being able to rely on Kittle, not just as a receiver, but also as a run blocker. Like they really need to run the ball better. And that just goes into how much more I think involved Christian McCaffrey is going to be in the game plan as a rusher and a receiver. And so last week it was a struggle for them, and I think that Seattle was able to defend them really well, and as you would expect with 2 teams who know each other very, very well. But I looked at the Saints last week, and even though it wasn't good enough, right? They had the Trey Benson 52-yard run that was sort of a killer for them. If you take that Trey Benson run away, or even if you make the Trey Benson run 12 yards, so all right, well, he's getting the first down, but we're tackling him right after. The Saints were able to hold the Cardinals below the standard of what they would have wanted to rush the football. And so again, I was sort of pleasantly surprised by how aggressive and how fast I felt like the Saints defense, specifically their defensive line, or I should just say front seven, was playing last week against the Arizona Cardinals, who are a team that we know wants to run the ball against you. So I think the Niners are going to have to lean on that a little bit more out of necessity. And so to me, I think that could be a recipe for this game being a little bit closer than people think that it's going to be. I don't know how potent this Niners passing attack is going to be. I mean, they basically squeezed out everything that they could from Ricky Pearsall last week, and it's like, okay, well, who else are they throwing the ball to? Of course, they're, like I said, they're going to get McCaffrey more involved, but when George Kittle went down, it felt like, man, it was just like a one-target player there for them with Ricky Pearsall. So I've got the Niners still winning this game, going on the road, winning this one in New Orleans. But I say 21-17. Like, I think this one's going to be closer than a lot of people might think that it should be.
Yeah, the injuries make this so hard to read on San Francisco's side, and it's why they need their defense to come out and play well. They played very well last week. They only gave up 13 points to Seattle. They played well. They got a big win, obviously, and Bosa made the play at the end. They need their defense to play well, because you mentioned George Kittle. Juwan Jennings might play. There's a chance he could play this week. You've got Ricky Pearsall. You've obviously got McCaffrey. And then, we haven't mentioned yet, we don't know if Brock Purdy's playing. Right? So we don't know yet, as of today's Wednesday, we don't know yet if it's going to be Brock Purdy or Mac Jones, although I don't think Mac Jones is the worst backup you could have. He played reasonably well for Jacksonville last year. I think I'm going to hedge it. I have it even closer than you do. I think Mac Jones, with this offense, and if their defense plays well, is actually still capable of beating New Orleans, but I think it's going to be ugly. I've got Niners 17 and Saints 16. I just think it comes down to, we might see a game where neither team makes hardly any explosive plays. And if the Niners defense can carry them through this one, then I think they'll feel really good about being 2-0 despite all the adversity.
Yeah, I see the over-under that we got via DraftKings, 42.5. I like under on that.
I think if you have a hunch, if Purdy was playing, and even though he's hurt, that might make that a little more difficult. But if you have a hunch that Mac Jones is playing, you almost certainly take the under on that.
Yeah. I mean, even if Purdy's playing,
80% maybe.
Yeah, like
it wasn't great.
Even if I give the Niners another 3 points, like 24-17, I guess it just comes down to, do you think the Saints are going to score at all, really, in this game? That's really where the over/under lies, because I think whether Purdy plays or not, I think it's going to be somewhere around 20 for the 49ers. I don't think that it's going to be that much higher, but it just kind of comes down to, do you think that the Saints offense is really going to be able to score with Spencer Rattler? I think they can. I think this one's going to be slightly under. I think that 42.5 number is a little bit high for how I think the game script is going to go, but I do still think the Niners are going to win this one.